Hello and welcome, Northwood University Project 100 members. Welcome to our first all-online format for Project 100. Thank you for bearing with us and allowing us to be a part of this process. We know this is a little bit different, and we miss the fact that we can't be all together in person to vote on these various projects, but we're so excited that you joined us online, and we're hopeful that you'll stick with us through the entire event as we decide the next $10,000 project for Northwood University. We have three really great deserving groups here tonight, and they have all prepared pre-recorded videos to share with you tonight. We will go through each video one by one, and then we have an opportunity for a couple of representatives from each group to answer your questions. If you've never been on Blue Jeans events before, you'll notice that there's a Q&A tab on the right side. We encourage you to put any questions you may have in there at any time that you think of them. And then as we get towards the end of tonight's event, I will address those to the various groups that we have here where they can answer your questions. Feel free to use the event chat to talk to one another. And if you have any other additional things you'd like to say that don't fall into the form of a question, we can go ahead and put them in there. I think without any further ado, I think we can go ahead and get started. Thankfully, we have an amazing tech team on the back that's going to help us share the videos tonight. And first up, we have the diversity and inclusion group. So Dan, if you would go ahead and fire that up, we would appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Sarah Barker, Assistant Strength and Conditioning Coach.
Hi, I'm Leonard Haynes, Head Football Coach.
Hi, my name is Lonnie Griffin, Head Men's Basketball Coach.
Hi, my name is Darvin Ham, Assistant Men's Basketball Coach.
Hi, I'm Kate Dornbos, Head Athletic Trainer.
All right, so now that you've met each one of us, we are from the athletic department. We have created this group known as DIG, the Diversity and Inclusion Group. We started this in the summer of 2020 after some of the events that occurred throughout America. We just felt like it was something that we needed to address as a department. So we created our group and came together, created a mission statement and some goals. So obviously you can read through this, but essentially the goal of this is to have an inclusive culture and to have a diverse culture here in the athletic department. So you can read through this, but again, the goal of this is to challenge ourselves a little bit and to be a little uncomfortable, to have those conversations that are tough. And so our goal of all of this is to dig deeper into our relationships, dig deeper into our teams with our student athletes and as a department as a whole. So here are some of our goals. The biggest thing I will say as you read through these goals is if we receive the money from Project 100, that would allow us to achieve a lot of these goals. So we're talking about getting out in the community, the Great Lakes Bay region. This money that is given to us would allow us to do some of those things. So,
due to the racial makeup of our athletic department, we thought it would be a great idea to enlist the help of the Racial Equity Institute. Their goals align with our DIG goals by educating staff on a much deeper level. Their process is designed to help leaders and organizations who want to proactively understand and address racism. The Racial Equity Institute understands that a one-day workshop is not enough to accomplish these goals, hence why their process is an 18 to 2-year process.
This money will also be helpful in education in terms of traveling to the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit, where we can expand our education and give people a different perspective as it comes to learning about different races.
Along with deeper education, we want deeper relationships. And we currently have 3 ideas and events to have in mind that involve the community, our staff, and our athletes, and just traditional students if they want to come along too. So we have a Dig with Dow, representatives from Dow having discussions about race in the workplace with our student athletes. Power Up, we invite successful women from the community to have a panel of discussion with our female student athletes, which this is in the works already. And then our Athletic Dig program, where the Northwood student athletes of color share their experience with other student athletes and we hope to get even the Midland Public Schools involved in this program.
Another thing we'd like to do with the funding is have t-shirts to promote conversation in the community. You can see an example here of the t-shirt in the front with the two hands clasped together, and then on the back we'd like to let folks know about your program and how we were able to do this by giving you a shout out on the back. Thank you for your time, and thank you for considering DIG.
All right. Thank you so much, DIG members, for that excellent video. We're so glad that you're here, and we're so glad that you are able to be a part of this process. Next, we'd like to invite the Finance Association video to show, where they'll tell us a little bit about their aspirations. Dan, if you will.
Good evening, distinguished members of Project 100, and thank you for taking the time to listen to our speeches today. My name is Jared LaRue, and I'm a third-year student in the BBA-MBA program, dual majoring in finance and management. I love being involved around Northwood, which is why I play for the hockey team, am a member of the signature events team, the student alumni networking group, and next semester, the president of the Finance Association. Today, I would like to propose why the State of the Market Dinner would serve as a benefit to Northwood and all of its students. We will be discussing what the State of the Market Dinner would be composed of, why it would be beneficial to Northwood, and how Project 100 can help. The goal of the State of the Market Dinner is to educate the attendees about current conditions and potential trends of the market and economy as a whole, and how it will influence them. With all the information offered in today's climate, it can often seem overwhelming. However, by providing a clear and objective analysis of the information, we will be greatly benefiting those who attend and are willing to listen to our analysis. The information and presenters for the dinner will be completely student-run with the guidance of our distinguished professors. Now, this will not be a silo for solely financial major students. While the Finance Association will be quarterbacking the event, the information presented will be a collaboration between students of multiple different expertise. The evening will culminate with keynote addresses from students from the Finance and Economic Department, providing an analysis of the state of the market and economy and potential future trends. However, the goal would always be to incorporate other majors to discuss the current aspects of their respective industries, such as automotive, hospitality, and international business majors, and many, many more. By offering a plethora of varying topics from the expertise of Northwood students, attendees are sure to gain an extensive understanding of the current state of the market. On to our next point, the State of the Market Dinner will be exceptionally beneficial to Northwood and all of its students. Our hope is not only to invite Northwood alumni and faculty, but also distinguished members and industry leaders from around the state. Northwood will be able to showcase the knowledge of future leaders of the global free enterprise that the university played a vital role in developing. Also, students will receive an astonishing opportunity to demonstrate their enthusiasm and knowledge on a specific topic and also be able to network with possibly their next potential employer. The opportunities that arise from this event are limitless, both for the school and the student. Finally, Project 100 can play a critical role in the development of this initiative to better the lives of Northwood students. The preliminary budget, which is shown on the screen, can be subject to flexibility, but the main concept remains the same. Our goal is to utilize the funds generously donated by Project 100 to establish an event that will ultimately be self-sustaining, if not profitable, within a couple years. As the annual State of the Market Dinner becomes established and grows in popularity, the funds generated from the evening will not only be able to go towards the expenses for the dinner next year, but also towards other potential student projects. Expenses will include a venue, catering, equipment, and information packets, which again can be variable. If Northwood is generous enough to allow the event to be hosted on campus, perhaps in the McNair Center, it will cut down on venue expenses. Catering will depend on the number of attendees, but the dinner will most likely utilize Northwood's catering system. The money utilized for the event equipment and information packets are for the attendees to follow along with information presented and take home for further analysis. Again, our hope is to use the seed money generously donated by Project 100 to establish and grow an event that will be beneficial for Northwood for years to come. The State of the Market Dinner will showcase the exceptionalism of Northwood University and its development of the future leaders of a global free enterprise society, offering the opportunities for students to develop their skills and network with industry leaders and alumni. With the funds donated by Project 100, the Finance Association will be able to develop an event that will significantly benefit the university and students for years and years to come. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you so much, Finance Association. For those of you who are curious, one of the representatives from that group has posted not only an apology because he thought maybe those slides had translated to the video, but they may not have. He posted a budget for that project as well. So if you want to look in the event chat, you can see the breakdown there. And then last but certainly not least, I'd like to invite the intramural group video to be shown here. If you would, Dan.
Hello, Project 100 donors. My name is Joe Rupert, and I am here on behalf of Northwood Intramurals. We are proposing that we build an outdoor sand volleyball pit on Northwood's campus. With all the recent additions made to campus, including an esports facility, Founders Garden, amphitheater, and North Village, there's still something missing. A place for students to be competitive and active outside. Now, I'm currently standing in Northwood sand volleyball court, but there's one problem with it, and that's location. Located at the old South Village apartments, this volleyball court is far from where the students are. We are looking to build a volleyball court centrally located on campus in order to be more accessible to students. I've been a part of a group that plays volleyball, and for the last 8 weeks or so, we have met on this sand court every Thursday night at 5 p.m. Being able to hang out with other Northwood students and be active has been a ton of fun. Every Thursday, we've had to drive to this court, but if it was closer to campus, more people would be able to take advantage of it. We have found 2 locations on campus that would work for this build. The first location is between the softball field, tennis courts, and soccer field. Being on level ground and in the middle of other sporting areas, this is our top choice for where we should put the volleyball court. The second location would be behind North Village Apartments. Within walking distance from the freshman dorms, this would be a great addition to students, especially ones living in the apartments. Now, these are some of the areas that we've come up with, but we will be working closely with Northwood faculty to find a spot that will work. We estimate that the cost of building a new volleyball court will be $8,500. The outdoor volleyball net assembly will be $2,500, and the cost of the sand and excavation will be approximately $6,000. We have contacted Fisher Sand and Gravel, and they said they are willing to assist us in the build. Intramurals are more than an opportunity for students to compete with their classmates through various sports. Intramurals engage students in skills like leadership, sportsmanship, teamwork, and companionship. We believe that having more opportunities for students to be active outside can contribute to a better college experience. On behalf of Northwood Intramurals, thank you for your time and all of your generous giving to Northwood University.
All right. Thank you so much, Northwood Intramurals. We're so excited to have you here. There are some questions that we have, so I will invite our representatives from each group to join us, and we can get some of these questions hashed out. A couple of quick notes, though. I wanted to let you know, as always, these projects have already been administratively vetted by Northwood University and have been approved. So if approved, they can go forward without delay of the approval process through the administration. So we already have those. I think if we can have all of our representatives join us, if you could unmute yourselves. Looks like we've got Jared, here we've got Dig. All right, we'll go ahead and get started since we've got everyone coming. And I'm going to take the first question from Dr. Bacon. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for showing up. I'm guessing by the timing of the question that this is directed at Dig, and it looks like we have a couple of questions for Dig in the chat too, so we'll start with them. What are the financials of these initiatives? And it looks like Dig has already answered the question in the chat, but if you guys could go ahead and unmute yourself on your audio and address that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so like I typed in there. The biggest chunk of the money would be spent on the Racial Equity Institute. That 2-year-long training process is about $6,000. The trip to the Charles H. Wright Museum is $1,500 between food and a bus rental. We're going to spend about $2,000 on the shirts. And then we would also use the remaining about $500 for some advertising for the other events within the community that we're hoping to have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. As a reminder, if you have questions, please place them in the Q&A tab on the right, just so it's a little bit easier on our end to make sure that we're keeping track of those questions if you have them. The next one that we have is for the Finance Association. Will the State of the Market dinner be financially sustainable beyond 1 year with this funding?
Yes, so our hope is with this funding, obviously you can see in the preliminary budget is that we did expense, with our current budget, is that it would be $5,750 for the first year event. However, so with that budget, we'd hopefully be able to make it just under 2 years. However, we have thought of different options in order to help raise some money. We can do potential fundraising and then also donations at the event itself, as well as potential sponsorships and other avenues in order for the dinner to make revenue. Our hope is that with the funds offered by Project 100 is that we would be able to at least have this dinner go on for 2 years, and then after that it'll absolutely be able to be self-sustaining and all the funds will be able to go to the expenses next year. So yes, we will hopefully be able to keep this. The goal is to keep this dinner running for years and years to come.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We have a question, looks like about the training, again, for DIG. Can you just clarify how many people are trained with that $6,000?
Yeah, so right now, generally with the $6,000, it says up to 50 people. So that would be the entirety of the athletic department. And then on top of that, there is opportunity, if you have more people, more interest, you're able to continue to pay a little bit more and add more people. So if we, as a university, decide maybe we want to include some people across campus, that this is a training that we want to do, we'd be able to kind of expand that a little bit more based on interest.
And we're going to stick with you, Dig, just a little bit. You're in the hot seat right now. Based on that, you alluded to it a little bit, just including the entire campus community in that training. But could you just elaborate a little bit more on how you plan to incorporate the entire campus community in your efforts?
Yeah, I think that, obviously we're in the athletic department. That's kind of who we see specifically with the racial breakdown at Northwood. We hope to obviously build a strong skill set. And again, like I said, if we find that we want to spend, $7,500 up to the whole $10,000 on that, because we feel like this is an event that Northwood truly wants to be a part of, and we want it to be a campus-wide event. That's something that we're willing to do. I don't think there's anything off the table for that. And again, I think that obviously the goal of it is for us to be able to have some good training. That is the basis of knowledge, is education, and how do we change some of the things that are going on within Northwood itself, and then obviously roll it over to our student athletes and to the students as well, having other events on campus, and making sure that we include everyone in those events. That's kind of the whole point of the inclusion aspect of it. We're not trying to exclude people from coming, for sure. So yeah, we're hoping to kind of bring other parts of that in, but obviously we see the need for this within athletics for sure. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Switching over to intramurals, we have a question. If the projects are pre-approved, but are the locations pre-approved if Project 100 funds the volleyball courts? That's part one. Part two, is there any existing volleyball equipment that Northwood has that we could recycle more or less for the new location?
So right now we did have 2 locations that we were thinking that might work, and we definitely will be working with faculty on a new spot that would work. But we're thinking if we could get a location closer to the freshmen, maybe on Mall Walk so yeah, it's still up in the air on location, but we're definitely excited about finding a spot for that.
Yeah, we talked to Mr. Smith, and he's got a couple locations that he's already looked at as far as location. But again, it's just getting the next step of working with the administration. And again, every university has volleyball courts near their dorms, and we're one of the few that does not. As far as reusing some of that stuff, it depends if we want to keep that other one on the other side of campus. I mean, nobody's by the bills anymore. And so could we reuse those poles? Probably. Yeah, we probably could. It would be cheaper. But again, it's going to take some type of equipment to get that over there, to dig it up, all the cement, and then bring it back over. But right now, most of the kids don't even know it's there. Joe, anything else?
Nothing else for me, yeah.
So thanks for having us.
Chris, you're muted. You
I am
were
muted.
muted, at least for me. I don't know about anyone else.
All right. Well, we'll keep going, and hopefully you can hear me. Give me thumbs up if you can hear me, guys. Awesome. Perfect. Sorry. In the age of technology, we have to now resort to visual cues when things aren't going quite as we expect. So we have a couple of questions from the Finance Association. So you're back on deck. Looks like we have two. For the state of the market event, what time of year will it be? Will it be tied to any other Northwood events? And then we also have a question, if the state of the market is very successful, what will be done with the funds that are profited each year? Is there an endowment considered?
Yeah, so absolutely. So to address the first question, what we were hoping for, at least for this year, is to be able to offer it in the spring. Now, obviously with COVID and everything going on, that might be a little bit too optimistic considering with how we keep on pushing it back, but with the vaccine, we're optimistic that we would be able to offer it in the spring. And then hopefully for years to come, we might want to push it more towards the fall, simply because it would offer students, say potential seniors who would be presenting, the opportunity to meet their, again, next potential employer, if that's possible, and be able to network with those successful industry leaders a little bit sooner. That way they can be prepared for graduation to be able to transfer into those jobs. Now, on the success of the State of the Market dinner, again, the initial, any funds raised will initially go towards the dinner next year. So we'd want to make sure that that is covered. The dinner next year has enough funds in order to, again, keep it going year after year. Now, with any additional funds that might be provided, we have been thinking about some other potential projects that students might be able to include, which does include an endowment. I know a lot of schools like the University of Detroit Mercy and I believe it's University of Michigan, they actually have student endowments that the financial students run and manage. And that'd be a very interesting concept that we might be able to explore. And then also other potential projects. I know there was one that one of the professors, Professor Rang, had offered, which would be a potential trip to New York for students. Now, again, this is not just a silo for financial students. The Finance Association wants to be open to anyone who is willing to learn about basic financial needs and basic financial knowledge. And so those potential projects could be completely open to anyone. However, our primary goal would be to fund the dinner for the upcoming year.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it looks like we do have a question from Professor Rang in there, but I think Professor Rang, Jared answered your question. So if he didn't, let me know and I will submit it to you, but it looks like he may have. There's a couple of questions here talking again about the intramural sports, and they have to do with the number of nets. Have you guys considered doing more than one? It seems like one of the questions says, in the long term, are you looking at more than one court? It seems like having only one is a bit limiting. And we have another question in there that says, could there be two nets instead of one? That way you could have tournaments, etc.
I'll go ahead and go first. If you double the size of it, it's basically doubling the price, because it's about right up to about 85, 8,900, somewhere in there for one. So it would be more expensive, but obviously anytime you have more than one would be extremely beneficial to all the students. I mean, the main goal is just getting kids active outside, because when we offered fitness classes this fall outside at the amphitheater for yoga and Zumba and kickboxing and things like that. Kids were walking by and they'd see us over there by the amphitheater, and all of a sudden they'd join in after they checked in with their mask and everything. So it's just a chance for the kids to see what's going on, just like you do on every other campus. But yeah, if we could get two, that'd be awesome. Right, Joe?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially even if we start with one, I think that's a great start.
Yeah.
Just show faculty like, hey, students are using this. Like, this is a great addition to student life. And then maybe even putting one by Mall Walk, and then one behind North Village Apartments. Like, I feel like that would be having more of them around. Yeah, just prove the concept.
And intramural, we're going to stick with you real quick too. Can you give us just a ballpark figure, the number of students that are engaged with intramural in a year?
Well, this year's obviously different, but with the limited.
Let's say in a normal year.
Well, last year was my first year, so it was at least, that's like about 200 some kids. I mean, that dropped in or stopped by, or kids would come and watch and cheer. So I don't know if you're considering that as being part of it, but literally, some kids would bring signs, just like you see at a college basketball game, and holding them up during the intramurals. Because we did volleyball 3 different times last year. So we had sand volleyball, which was very hard to get kids to because they didn't know where it was, and trying to promote it. So we had a small group do that. And then we had indoor in the fall, and then we had indoor in the spring. It was our most popular sport. The kids just, they love it. Joe, anything?
Yeah, and a lot of students like me aren't involved in a sport on campus. So I was really involved in sports in high school. But coming to Northwood, like intramurals was a ton of fun for me. Doing basketball, dodgeball, soccer, like these, it's like a really important part of student life, I feel like. Especially because I'm an active person, and finding other students who are active. It's a great way to meet new people, and it's funny today. We played ultimate frisbee today at 4, and then we played sand volleyball at 5. And we played for an hour leading up to this. So that was that's a big part of my college experience is that, and I have a car so I can kind of drive to these places. And freshman year, I had no idea we had a sand volleyball court. So I feel like a lot of people are missing out. They're going home on weekends just because there's nothing for them here that's if you're not in a sport. So I feel like this is really important for college or college experience.
We have one more question for the Finance Association. Who's your preferred target market for the State of the Market Dinner? Anyone specifically in mind other than alumni? Could this be a part of a scholarship award of some kind? Could you just elaborate a little bit more on your vision for this?
Absolutely. So it was unfortunately one of the PowerPoint slides that didn't end up in the video. For some reason, it didn't transfer over. However, we not only just targeting alumni, but we would love to incorporate industry leaders from all over the state into the State of the Dinner. And so actually potential recruiters, possibly from either Dow or Merrill Lynch. I know I have a personal connection with after interning with them for 2 years, thanks to a career fair that Northwood set up. And so potential industry leaders that would be very interested in coming to listen to our students and being able to showcase the exceptionalism of Northwood education and being able to showcase the potential of our students. And so employers, and not only just from around the state, but also here in the Midland community, possibly attendees from the Midland Bureau or Midland Business Association would be able to be invited. I know Tri-City Bank would be very interested. And so the range of targets is endless simply because we would want to invite anyone who would be willing to listen to our students and be able to, it'd be a way to showcase their knowledge and exceptionalism in their industry. And so it'd be very interesting to see. And also, like I incorporated on not just finance and econ majors, but for example, we would want to involve automotive majors in order to, and we can bring along some different automotive companies simply to not only just present on what's going on in their sector of the industry, but also to showcase their knowledge. So it would be open to everyone. And then I'm sorry, the second part of the question, yes, part of a scholarship award. Again, that would be depending on the amount of money that we'd be able to raise. I know with the signature events team, some of these events are able to be very lucrative for Northwood. And so that's always a possibility. It'd be completely open to how the students feel and how the professors would be guiding. And so it could potentially be another scholarship award opportunity to provide to the students. However, the main focus would be to offer the dinner for next year using the funds that we have, and then anything excess than that we could discuss and we could figure out what the students and professors would like.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. We have another question for intramurals. Can you detail any post-pandemic community plans you may have with the volleyball courts? And then secondly, would Fisher or Pat's Gradall consider a gift-in-kind contribution?
We've talked to them about the possibility of a donation, and I think we'd have to go a little bit further on that, exploring that opportunity. But also, to me, getting the students involved to help with it, I think would be tremendous. Having a student body help actually build the court, especially kids like Joe who are involved in it. But yeah, they haven't. I asked them. I kind of jokingly talked to them about, hey, how about doing? It was kind of like one of those. Yeah, well, maybe we'll see. Ha ha ha. Joe, how about the first question for you? Being a volleyball player, how'd you guys handle the COVID?
COVID detail. So I'm not exactly sure on that. That's a really great question. One of the things is we'll be installing it in the spring, so I'm not sure the change in regulation then, but I don't have an answer for that. I know we're all careful.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is, like, for kids, if following the rules of whatever the governor says, over there, just like when we have regular intramurals, the kids have to follow the rules with the masks and the safety. The kids will have to do that on their own. And obviously, closer to the dorms, you can supervise that. Where they're at right now, there's nobody over there. Nobody, even, the general community can go over there. We don't even know who's over there. And so the closer it is to campus, obviously, the safer it would be.
Colleague of mine knows that because I read most of the things that are in the Q&A tab, I'm going to read this, but I will do it begrudgingly. Justin Marshall asks, some burning questions and statements. Did Lonnie have voice actor lessons? Chris, do you have plans to grow out your beard even longer? Yes, I do. That's a lovely coffee bar, Jared and Dawn. You are dressed for success in intramurals. Thank you for keeping students healthy and fit through the pandemic. Again, important questions that are necessary to answer. Another question, Dig, what type of events have you held this year and what kind of engagement from the students have you experienced so far?
Okay, so yeah, actually what kind of kicked us off was ran by the students. They organized a march that was on campus, which was a huge success. And what was very promising about that was a lot of the coaches allowed the athletes to miss their lift or practice to participate. So that was kind of really nice to see everyone kind of coming together. We did 7 laps around the campus and people made signs and people got to have a chance to tell some stories. And even Mrs. Liebhart, Professor Liebhart, she even came in and started and she told a story. So it was very impactful just to hear people on the campus who feel that this is really important to talk about and how many people had their back. That then butted up with a community march and still a pretty good showing. And we even went into the community, which was very interesting for these young people to see the reaction of the people trying to have late lunch downtown. And there were some things that they saw and heard along that march that made us aware that we have a lot of work to do in this area. So this isn't just about Northwood University, it's about the community that these kids live in for 8 to 9 months of the year. And so that's why it's important for us to build that relationship with the community, not just on campus. And so what opened up was a What's Next event after the march, where Dr. Amy Beasley who is being involved in the Midland Public Schools, diving into diversity and touching on those topics. She came in and conducted kind of just a discussion. She didn't come and lecture, which was great. She gave people the opportunity to speak up, and we had a great conversation that was leading us to the next step and what are the next actions we're going to take. And we definitely plan on having her back on campus to lead those conversations. So we've already had some things checked off on the book, but unfortunately, some of the next things we have in mind cost money. So we've done the free stuff.
Yeah,
so far.
We did a little bit too. There was an event after we met with Dr. Beasley, a community event. We went to the Midland Center for the Arts, and they had a kind of an open forum about, it was with the Midland Business Alliance and talking about inclusion. And so we went to that event. And it was great. People were really happy to see Northwood people out in the community coming to an event like that at the Center for the Arts, which was very cool. We also got a hold of the county clerk, and the county clerk came on campus to register voters. So prior to the presidential election, there was somebody from the office here that was here and registered voters on campus. She was here for 6 hours. Anyone could come up and check their registration status, stuff like that. And then we've also been reached out to by different groups. The athletic director at Midland High School has contacted me. He heard that we had created this group and wanted to kind of have some guidelines. He's thinking about creating a dig group at the Midland High School, and just kind of wanted to pick my brain and our brains about how that happens and how that looks like. So again, people are coming to us with things, which is pretty cool. And especially with the event with the students, was able to go to the local police department and have the students that were leading the march just kind of have a conversation with the chief of police, and what does this look like and how do we go about this the right way, and making sure that we're doing everything that the community wants us to do, but also having, them going and having a chance to have a conversation and meet the chief of police. So just stuff like that that's been really cool and authentic that has happened just within the last couple of months without us really being able to kind of, like Sarah said, have an event where we can spend some money and kind of tell people a little bit more about what we got going on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We are currently out of questions on the Q&A tab, which does not mean that we don't have any more, but I know we have a little bit of a delay between the video and the broadcast, so I'm going to do last call for questions. Any questions you may have in the Q&A tab, please place them and we'll get them addressed. Otherwise, we will move on. I'm going to give it just a few more seconds to see if there's any other additional outstanding questions. Until then, if you happen to see a couple of Australian Shepherd tails flying behind me, that's because our couple fur kids are running around. So this is the joys of video conferencing. So if you happen to see Finn or Ernie, that's no big deal. Don't worry about it. All right. Anything else? No additional questions coming through. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on and joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you for answering all of our questions. You guys are all really valuable members, and this is always a reminder that Project 100 is a good resource for groups and departments and students and teachers and faculty and other staff that we are a resource for you to do all kinds of projects on campus. So thank you for joining us. If you will go ahead and depart, we will start our deliberations on our end. So we look forward to seeing you on the other end. For Project 100 members, we have asked the students, as usual, to leave this room, and we have invited them to a second room where we will meet with them separately to let them know the winner. So for right now, Dan, if you would bring up the poll, for those of you who, again, are not familiar with Blue Jeans events, there is a poll tab on the side. You should be able to see it once the poll goes active. And you can now input which project you would like to support. Would you like to support the Diversity and Inclusion Group, the Finance Association, or Intramural Sports? If you have additional questions for us on the Northwood administration side, you are also able to ask those questions now. So if you have any additional questions that weren't directed at the students, but directed to those of us in the administration, you can go ahead and do that. We are going to keep this poll open for a while. I can see we have 24 attendees in this event. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I will wait for a critical mass of those votes to come through. We do not have an electoral college in the Project 100 group, so we don't have any delays in declaring the winner. I think we'll give it just another 30 seconds. Be sure to vote on the poll on the side if you have. If you have questions, please address them here.
We're at 20 votes right now, Chris. 21. 3 more outstanding there if they're going to cast their vote.
You could be the swing votes. You're attending and you haven't voted, please do so. We'll give it just another 10 to 15 seconds.
22 votes.
Professor Rang, no, I do not have an interactive map, although we can always work to get that up and running.
24 votes counted.
All right. Go ahead and shut it down, Dan. And we have a winner. The winner this time around is the Finance Association. We think that event will be an amazing asset to Northwood University. We're always excited to have student-led events at Northwood University, as you know, with all of the things that we have going on between the fashion showcase, the style show, the Northwood University International Auto Show, even though that is slightly different this year. To Project 100 members, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We know this format was a little bit different. As always, we always hope to send you a survey after this and get your feedback on this format, how you liked it, what worked well, what didn't work well. We hope that this met your expectations, but if it didn't, you can always address that. You can send us an email at alumni@northwood.edu, or you can send an email to any one of us or put something in the chat. We've got a comment here from Nick. All three were great. Is there funding or match opportunities for any if they need more money? Short answer is I would say yes. We're hopeful that people are willing to match if necessary. All of these projects, as they were shared, are meant to be within the budget that they have, but we hope that if there are opportunities to present themselves for matching, we can certainly go after those. But as of right now, they should all be able to run with the budgets that they have. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I think that brings our meeting to an end. For those of us on the Northwood side, we are going to stop this broadcast and go share the news with all of our presenters. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you at the next.